Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting of the Phrancko Sweater Knitters. And we had a special meeting this morning to see if anybody would show up when it was not being recorded. And Nancy joined us, but she's an old regular, just hasn't been around for a while. Thank you for coming back, Nancy.
You're welcome.
And welcome to all of the rest of you. Joellen, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Sidra.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Judith.
Hello.
Hi, Ron.
Hello.
Hi, Jenny.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Nancy.
Oh, me again. Hi.
And Nancy again. Hi. Yeah, sorry. Kathy. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Kathy. I can't
Hi.
do this. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Rana.
Hello.
Nice to see you back again, too.
Thank you.
I guess we won't have any more early morning meetings unless we move this meeting to earlier in the day. Does anybody have a feeling one way or the other? Would you rather meet at 10:30 Pacific time?
I prefer the afternoon.
Yeah,
Me too.
Let's keep it like that.
that's
By
when I'm
3:30,
actually
yeah.
working at work.
Oh.
And then I can drift off at 2:30. By then, all of my tasks are sure to be done.
That's how I feel too, Ron. I
Yeah.
get everything done.
Well, at
It's
least
Cindy.
among the people here, it seems 2:30 is more popular, though I think Nancy finds it easier if on the East Coast of the US. It's
It does,
5:30 there, and so that's probably dinner time or getting ready for dinner.
but since I'm floating in and out, I think going with consensus is such a great idea.
Okay, Nancy, well, thanks. We'd love to have you join us when you can, though. We know you're an avid Phrancko Sweater knitter, just like the rest of us.
Still doing it.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Frank.
Well, let me start by sharing my exciting news that I already shared with some of you this morning, but I want to do it again. I have made a modification to the yoked sweater pattern that gives you 3 options of how to distribute the increases in your yoke. So let me see if I can share my screen and find the right screen again. Oh, I was afraid of that. It got lost.
Real quick, am I making noise? Is noise coming from me? Not my body, but my
No.
No,
Noise from your mouth.
Yeah, I'm aside from that.
no, we're not hearing any background
Okay,
noise.
I'm using my e-spinner, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't.
Okay.
You're what? Easy baker?
Yeah, my easy bake oven. I'm making light bulb brownies for everyone. Send your address.
What are you spinning right now?
I will tell you all about it after Frank's lovely announcement.
Easy spinner.
Yes. My electric spinner.
There, I found it. There we are.
Relief.
Okay, so here is the new yoke pattern. The only indication here is that it says it's a yoke sweater, and there's a circle around the shoulder showing a hint at the inset yoke. But I added these options up at the top in the comments where the red and the blue is, and I'll start reading at the bold words yoke options. For the yoke of the sweater, you may prefer to have more or fewer rounds where increases are worked. Currently, the pattern includes the middle number of oops, let's change that. Click. Currently, the pattern includes the most increase rounds with only 3 increases on the front and back each time. Try each of these options to determine which works best for your yoke design. The idea is I'm giving you flexibility on how to fit the type of design you want on the yoke into the yoke. So right now we have this first one, which is the one that we tested all those months. It's 3 yokes, 3 increases on the front and the back, every round that is an increase round. And I'll show you what that looks like. We're talking about the yoke section of the sweater, labeled yoke, right here. And these are the rounds. And if you notice, the increase rounds say increase 3 on front and back. And round 1 does an increase, round 2 does an increase, 4, 6, 7. Those are the increase rounds when you do 3 at a time on the front and back. Let's go to the other extreme and click the least number of increase rounds, executing 12 increases on the front and back. I click that link. I go back down here to the yoke section, and voila, there are very few increase rounds. The first one is on round 4, and on round 4, you increase 12 stitches across the front and across the back. And on round 11, you increase 12, and on round 18, you increase 12, and so forth. If we choose the middle option, middle number of increase rounds, 6 increases per round. Now we look at the yoke section. You see a moderate number of increase rounds, and there are 6 increases on the front and back each time. That means 6 increases on the front and 6 increases on the back on those increase rounds. So my idea was with the different numbers of increases gives you different ways to divide up the yoke into sections if you want to do a pattern that fits into a section. Or if you want to do a pattern that is a circular pattern around the yoke that's a few rounds wide, you might want to choose the 12 increases and do those rounds where there are no increases, like from round 5 to round 10. You could do a whole section of color work, stranded color work, and not worry about having to put increases into the middle of your color work, which can distort the patterns. So that's the idea. And so you get to decide which one works best for you, depending on what you want to do. If you do 3 increases per round, for instance, you could distribute those increases evenly across the front and across the back and do them in random places. And that just makes a perfectly even yoke. There's no distortion in the yoke whatsoever. If you then have that same option, but you put the 3 increases all in the same 3 sections of the yoke, then they will divide that front into 4 different panels with an increase, all the increases occurring between those 4 panels on the front and 4 panels on the back. You can put the increases wherever you want, as long as they are the number requested at that round. If you have the option of doing 6 increases per round, then there is a way to use those 6, distribute those increases so that there are only 3 sections across the front and 3 sections across the back. And the way you do that is by putting 1 at the collar, 1 at the first section, on the inside of the first section, and then on the outside of the middle of the first section, 2 right together there, and 2 right together at another point, and then another one at the edge. So that's 6 increases, and dividing the panel into 3 sections where you could put a motif on each of the 3 sections. You can also put a motif on the shoulder, but it's not going to be the same size and shape as the other sections. So that's just another option. And then, as I said, the 12. If you really have a lot of very narrow sections, you could put, I don't know how many, 12, 13 different sections across the front. Or you could do what I said before and just have bands of colored arced sections that are worked horizontally instead of vertically. I mean, that's confusing language. The pattern runs horizontally around the yoke instead of vertically radiating out from the neck. That would be the difference. So there's a lot of flexibility introduced by these three options.
Got a question for you.
Sure.
So, do you have a suggested increase that you use, or?
If your pattern is not needing a particular set, well, let me put it this way. Everything is now still in test phase.
Right,
You're doing a test knit.
right.
I have knitted one yoke with the 12 option, and it didn't work right, but I saw what was wrong with it and I fixed it. I'm now knitting my second yoke with the 12 option, and I think it's going to work. But if you choose the 12 option, you're testing it for almost the first time, like I am.
I was actually thinking of the 6, but
And
if
the six nobody has knitted yet. So
Right.
it's also a test, but it's more likely to work than the 12. And the 3 is almost guaranteed to work because that's what Judith and I were doing on all the yokes that worked for us before.
Okay.
Can you still turn an existing sweater into a yoke? If we give you a sweater number or
Yes, absolutely.
I would love to test. And I was just before the meeting looking through my existing Phrancos to see one that
Yes, any of you who want to test the yoke sweater, just realize we're still in the testing phase and
yes.
it may or may not work, but I hope it will. You can just let me know. I think I stated it wrong last week. What I don't want any of you who are testing it to have to pay for the pattern. And so all you have to do before you pay for it is send me an email to my personal email address, which I've given you before, and tell me you want to do that. And I will send you a coupon code to enter on the payment page, which will reduce the price to 0. Then you can buy it. Then you can tell me the sweater number that you just bought, and I will go behind the scenes and convert it to a yoke sweater.
Well, if you have a moment, I would love sweater 10 converted. It's an easy number. 1010.
1010.
Yeah, or tonton. No, that's a different guy.
Okay, you get to see how long that takes me.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, it's a live trial.
TikTok.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, shoot.
Is it done?
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet? Yeah.
First, I have to see if 1010 really belongs to him. And it says the recipient name is Ron, so I think that's Ron's sweater.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
let's see. Try it now, Ron.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow, that was quick.
That was quick.
I logged out just in case I needed to not be.
Oh, well, let me see if I can check it. Let's see.
I'm back in. That
Yep, it is.
it says it is forbidden to me.
What?
Hold on.
Ron.
I'm gonna log out again and reload. So it takes it that long to forbid your sweater.
Is it your CMKY sweater? It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I think I might have a cookie issue or something.
Wow.
Bowden.
Well, I can see it. It's a yoke sweater.
If you could get that started for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Send me some yarn.
Okay. Yeah, it's a yoke sweater now. I got it, and I'm no longer forbidden. That was just
Oh, good.
I don't know what I did. Fantastic.
My husband gave me a new mug for Christmas. It says, "Eat, sleep, knit."
It's cute.
Perfect.
That's my life.
The
That
best
is
life.
cute.
Where did he find that for you?
Well, actually, it's at a yarn shop here in California, here in San Francisco, called
Oh.
Atelier Yarns, and that's written on the back of the mug. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
can't see it.
There it is. Not focused.
Yeah.
And I bet if you look them up online and call them, you could probably order it online.
Yeah.
They did not pay me to say that. I think I actually got 2 other mugs from them as well. One of them says something like, I knit so I won't kill anybody.
Right.
Yes, I've seen one of those. Before, yeah.
I had a very funny interaction at Atelier with my nephew one time when we were up there. Because whenever I'm traveling with my nephew, we go to yarn stores. But we were at Atelier, and I mean, we were making small talk, and one of the employees was kind of giving us the business about being Bakersfielders. There's sort of a Californian reputation of the town, I suppose. So she was just like razzing us about it. She's like, yeah, so we just have really nice stuff here. Like, okay, yeah, well, yes, thank you. And I don't know what like impression we give her. So like, I just went and picked up a skein of someone's hand spun cashmere, and she's like, I'll take 2 of these. And she's like, those are really expensive. Well, like, if you have to ask the price, you can't afford it. I spent like $500 on hand spun cashmere, so it was a good sale for her, but it was just me being a butt. Don't tell me you specialize in nice yarn. It was
Right.
and then I wound up weaving my nephew a scarf out of it because that was just like we were talking about that for the rest of the weekend. Just like pretending to be country yokels as we looked around. Gosh, these buildings are tall. I feel like I'd never seen so much fog.
I can't believe somebody would say that to you that owns a shop. That's really.
No. It was good fun in her mind.
It was all in fun.
Yeah. She wasn't trying to insult us.
Yes.
For real.
Andrew tells me they're very friendly and
Yes.
they enjoy when he comes in because he's going to buy another mug.
I had an opportunity to knit on the plane the other day, and I felt like any minute they were going to drop a net because I had weapons in my lap.
So Frank and Judith, which actual increases do you use when you're doing the yoke sweater?
That's a good question.
I don't remember what I used both. I used make one and
A twisted make one, right? Not make one open.
gee, I don't remember what I did.
Well, you would use twisted, I mean, make one left or make one right. Because if you did make one open, it would leave a hole.
No, there were no holes.
Yeah.
But
I have used make one left or make one right, whichever one
Right.
felt easier at the moment.
Mhm.
And this current one I'm doing, let me see if I can, I'm using the slip lifted increase that I did a video on.
You did a video, yeah.
Yes. Let's see. There's one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those are very unobtrusive.
Yeah.
There
You
it
can
goes.
barely see it at
Yeah,
all.
I can
It's
see it. You
right
can but
there.
barely see it, but right there. Yeah, but it's those were the one in June Himmons Hyatt book that was talked
That's
about,
right.
I think. Yeah.
I learned
and
of
then
it
you did the video.
from Principles of Knitting.
Oh, as a sidebar, I was looking through principles after our meeting last week to see if I could find anything in there about
Letterback.
Check, letterback jacquard.
I wasn't able to find anything.
I
Yeah.
couldn't find it either.
Hmm.
She gives everything a different name, and so it's hard to look it up by name, but looked through all of her color work sections and I couldn't find any reference to anything that looked like it.
That was the conclusion I came to, that
Hmm.
if it were called something else, I don't know what it would be called, but it wasn't in any of the sections where you would anticipate seeing it. So a
Interesting.
very rare omission from that text.
Yeah.
Frank, I'm swatching. I have a question. And maybe this is a
Sure.
good question. I mean, for anybody. I'm just swatching the Fair Isle part, the stranded color work
Uh-huh.
for my Phrancko. But I know that if I'm doing the body of the sweater and I'm working, and how do I want to say this? So I'm going to be doing a Fair Isle and it's working from the top down. Should I do an Italian 2-color cast on, or would it be better to just cast on and that in one color and then start the stranded color work? Because they'll have to be picking up later.
It's going to be picked up later for the neckline.
Exactly.
And so whatever you do on the cast on is going to be hidden,
Not sure.
Won't matter. Okay.
I think.
I have to think about it because I know the 2 gauges are going to be different.
Yeah, that presents something of a problem. If you're just doing color work on the yoke and your color work gauge is drastically different than your stockinette gauge, which the rest of the sweater will be.
Well, I was just going to calculate it.
Okay, you can probably do that.
Yeah, I was just going to calculate the difference.
How far down the sleeve are you doing the color work? Are you doing it across the shoulder and all the way down the sleeve gap?
Partway down. Partway down.
Then I would enter the color work as your gauge for the sweater. And I bet the row gauge is not that different and you probably don't have to modify anything for that. But if it's from then on, it's only about the row gauge. No, that's not
Right.
true. The circumference of the sweater varies too. So
It's only the stitch gauge that I was worried about. The rest of it, I'm not.
I see.
Well, wouldn't you have to figure the stitch equivalency that you would do the pattern in the Fair Isle part and do that, and then figure out what is your stitch equivalency between Fair Isle and stockinette, and then when you get to where the stockinette is, either increase or decrease, whatever it is you have to do, and then figure it like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
going to do.
Okay.
perfect explanation. Yes. The reason I was concerned about the row gauge is that the length of the sleeve will be based on the row gauge. If you follow
right.
the instructions. And so
Mhm.
you don't want that to be too far off. But if it is, you could recalculate it and change the number of rounds that it's called for.
Yeah.
It just gets a little more complicated to do
Yeah.
that calculation.
You want to see my design?
Absolutely.
So I haven't graphed it out yet because that's where I was during the meeting this morning. I decided I'd work on this instead.
Oh, that's fine.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Oh my goodness!
Aspen
Wow.
leaves
Oh, wow.
and the
Nice.
background and the leaves and the foreground change at different places. So I calculated that out. I just have to graph it and then swatch it. Now I'm swatching.
Wow.
So,
It's beautiful.
what do you use, or how do you graph it?
Oh, I'll probably use either Stitch Fiddle or Knit Whiz.
Okay. And do
And-
the different color changes and kind of all that stuff with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but if I was doing this on Knit Whiz, I'd use symbols and then just color it in.
Wow, what's Knitwiz? Has anyone said lately?
No, well, no, probably not.
In case anyone's joining us.
So Knitwiz is software for designing sweaters, basically not having to use math, and then you get the pattern instructions yourself. And it's my software, and You can do Phrancko sweaters on KnitWiz, except you can't do the yoked sweater on KnitWiz because I haven't done that.
It's
And,
too new.
It's too new, yeah. So Frank and I collaborated so that you could do more shaping and different things, different stitches and things like that, without having to calculate it out by hand. So
Right.
so that's what KnitWiz is.
Good to know.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
I took this marketing quiz once and I failed miserably.
It's hard to be everything, isn't it? The designer, the website developer, and the marketing expert. And
Yeah.
Well,
I
and
fail
the
on the
computer
marketing myself.
programmer, you guys are too doing, so it's like, okay, everything.
What's that,
Customer
Cindy?
support.
And the computer programmer and customer support.
Yes.
That's right. So if I had to fail on one, I guess marketing is the one to fail on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except that you keep losing money on your website every month because you're not marketing. Oops.
Yeah.
Well, and I saw the thing that you had posted, Frank, that your patterns are on sale for
Yes, I
a short
reduced the
time.
price on January
Prices.
1st, as I promised. Instead of $12 for the first fit, they're now $8 for the first fit. And we will see how that works for a while. And I haven't got a date where I will change it back, so I'm not putting anybody under pressure. But while the price is low, go ahead and knit your swatch and get your pattern. The yoke pattern will be done as soon as some of you finish the yoke test that we're doing this month.
Working on it.
I was so pleased programming that modification to it this week. I thought that was going to be really hard, and it turned out I did all the software changes in a day or two. So it really worked out well.
Does that make you feel good?
It does. Yeah, I
But
just feel
sometimes
good about
software
it.
can be-
And
Huh?
I'm
Sorry.
excited about it. And after I made the software change, I then knitted the first swatch. No, actually I knitted the first swatch to see if the 12 would work. And it caused ripples right around the neckline because the very first round was a round of increases.
Hmm.
And so I increased much too soon. So now the increases start on round 4 or different for different yarn gauges.
Different sizes.
But that 4 rounds, I think, is going to make all the difference in the world. And I'm not going to have those ripples at the neckline. But I'll know as soon as I finish this, because that's what I'm knitting now.
I wonder if the 12-step one might work if you were doing cabling doing cable work in your yoke. Because then you've got some natural stretch going on with the knits and the purls.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
can hide increases if you're doing cross stitches to be able to add an extra stitch in there and change up the pattern a little bit.
Oh.
You increase your
Wouldn't you do
cables
the
up.
increases between the cables, you mean?
No,
Or-
you could actually put your increases in a place if you're actually doing a cable, and then within the cable, inside the cable, you do your increase so that it becomes invisible and it becomes part of whatever you're spreading out into the next area.
So you're saying make the cable bigger?
No, I'm saying I'm just thinking theoretically, it may not work at all, but I'm just thinking with the 12-step because you've got a lot of ribbing going on, you've got a lot of natural stretch and give, so you're not going to get like little clumps.
Yeah.
And that when you're doing your increase, if depending on what you're doing with your pattern, how you're designing it, at the point where you're coming up on it, you actually do a cable cross. And within the cross, stick in that increase in the center so that as it's pulling away, you've now got an increase in there that goes into whatever your next layer of design is. And then it kind of hides the increase in there.
Kind of a background stitch, because your cable's up above and that little spot's in the back.
Yeah, exactly. If that becomes a background stitch, which then turns into, you know, either more
Your increase.
background or whatever. The basis for, you know, a bauble or something like that down the road or something. I don't know.
Nancy, I think you need to design a sweater and show us what you're talking about.
I know. I know. I'm already working on another one, and I have one for my sister right after this. So
All right.
it's not going to get done this month for the testing. You know, I love to think theoretical, but maybe I
Yes.
will one of these
And we
days.
love the results of what you do. You've done some
Yeah.
beautiful sweaters. We've
Thank
seen.
Beautiful.
you.
Frank,
Yes.
this is Rana.
Oh,
You guys, I think I'm having a problem with my computer. You guys are really broken up, and it's all of you, not just one of you. So I think I'm going to bail out because I have to leave in a while anyway. So I'll see you
oh,
next week.
yes. I think that sounds like a networking problem that you're having. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ron.
So nice to see you all. See you next week.
Hi, Rana.
Okay.
See you
See
soon. See
you.
you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Back to that theoretical knitting, I like to theoretically cook.
Except for you can't theoretically eat is the problem.
Can't seem to do that.
Right.
I
Mercy
could do the
Praxis.
theoretical housework, yeah.
Hmm.
Thinking of your marketing, Frank, on
Yes.
your, and I know nothing about website design, so I don't know whether this is at all feasible, but on the website, could you have a like a small window in the corner which you can show people sweaters in, so we could all send you a picture of our sweaters and you could have like a rotating you know, images of
Right.
different
Yeah.
sweaters on there, so people could see actual sweaters that have been made, lots of them. I don't know whether you can do that.
That would require quite a bit of work for
Or
me.
would it? Okay.
But another thing that I should have on the website is statements that I've collected from a number of you about how much you enjoyed or how much you appreciate the Phrancko pattern. And, you know, a lot of people like to see reviews and recommendations from users. And I don't have anything like that on the website either.
Or you
know,
could just
for-
have a link on the website to
Right.
another page with all the pictures on.
Yes,
So
I
you
could
could
do
collate
that.
them all,
Yes.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Frank has his own website. I know Squarespace allows you to be able to drop in your Instagram feed, and you can run slides of that for however many pictures you want to do on your Instagram.
Oh,
Carousel.
really? Wow. They just pulled the pictures from Instagram into the website that you create.
Yeah, Ron, you used a good term. What did you say? What did you call it?
A slideshow carousel?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, but I know Squarespace does that. And when you do your link, you just say how many of the most recent pictures do you want to go in rotation?
I
And
see.
it creates a box, and then you stick your feed in there. I mean, it's like you would be able to figure it out. I couldn't tell you. I know that it works though.
Huh.
And there is a lot of services that just sort of spit out some HTML for you to stick somewhere, and then
Yeah, yeah.
my big technique around here is whenever a new customer comes into the shop, we throw Phrancko sweaters at them until they leave.
That means you do better marketing than I do, Ron,
Right.
from my website.
Whenever, oh, I'd like to knit a sweater. I tried knitting a sweater, but it did this thing or that thing. And we're like, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at back here.
So if you're literally throwing it, would that be called direct marketing?
Very
I get
direct.
tangled up in it. It's customer retention.
So what's everybody working on?
A black sock. Again,
Oh, black is hard.
yes, with this light. Yes. But like I was saying this afternoon, I'm trying to figure out how to include my stitch pattern into the whole pattern with the yoke test. So I don't want to do this right now.
I know for Fair Isle, there's like traditional patterns that are used a lot. I mean, I know you can make your own, but there is a lot of traditional ones. Are there traditional patterns that people use or designs for yoke sweaters too? I've never even made a yoke sweater, so.
No, me neither.
They're pretty temporary.
I go with like those little snowflakes, a little kind of Swedish skiing down the mountain things, pretty prevalent.
Yeah, that's really popular. And the Norwegian designs like that. Yeah, those are very popular. But mostly the designer will put together, you know, they'll have a book of all these patterns, but then they just put them all together in a yoke.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
And they're in for the Icelandic yarn, I found out, I guess, you know, my friend's from Iceland, and she said there's basically one main designer that does every single design for that Lopi yarn.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Really? Wow.
Wow.
So she just comes up with pattern after pattern after
Because
pattern.
there's so many of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time her sister comes to visit, I get a new one. And she works for the publisher.
Wow.
I'm looking for my copy of Poems of Color. Are you familiar with that book?
No. Poems of Color.
Yeah, I've got that somewhere. Not that I could find it, but I have it.
Yeah. I mean, when we're talking about traditional yoke sweaters.
Alice Starmore has a book of designs.
Yes.
Well, now, but were hers yokes or were hers the traditional Fair Isle that everything's kind of like a tube and then you cut steaks?
Well, they're traditional, but then when you design a yoke, you work out how the increases or decreases are going to be
How to do. Okay.
between the
Okay.
sections.
Mm.
Because it seemed like a bunch of maybe I'm speaking totally out of turn and I'm wrong, but it seems like a bunch of the real traditional Fair Isle were just, it was just a straight tube. They didn't increase or decrease. It's a tube and then they steek, you know, straight things and even straight things for the sleeve.
I think the first yoke sweater patterns didn't start getting published until like the 1950s.
Right.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, there's still a pretty contemporary development.
Oh, so that's really
sweater.
quite
Well,
new.
Except that Roxanne Richardson said that the inset yoke, which is the yoke with set-in sleeves, which is what I'm now creating, she said that was popular in the 20s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I can't find any other patterns than the one she was wearing when she said that, but that's what she said.
That's interesting.
And the Bauhaus, wasn't that in the 20s and 30s?
It was, yeah.
But that's a little different, but still yoked.
Okay, just a minute, Nancy. Spotlight. There you go.
This isn't this isn't Poems of Color, which is, I can't find, but this one is from, Bohu Stickning, the Revival.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so like, there's that. And that, so they did more
Yeah, that's
hazy
gorgeous.
color work with, and part of the shading was because there was, bunny fur in the yarn. So it gives it this sort of hazy look to it, but
Yeah, the Angora.
I wish I could put my finger on it. One of the first books that I saw that came out, I think it was in the 90s, called Poems of Color. And that was before this revival book came out. But that one has a lot of traditional, at least for the time, like you said, what is it, the 30s, 40s, 50s?
Well, and it was, but they never, for the boho stickning, they never even released the patterns until just kind of here recently.
Right.
They did them and they sold them, but it was kind of like, nope, we're not teaching anybody else to do it. There's no patterns. It's just our little community.
Right. And now you can actually buy the kits with somebody who actually makes up the yarn that actually has the
Oh, wow.
the bunny
That
fur
would
in
be
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
See, it may give that information here in the back for anyone that's interested. Let's see.
I'm pretty
Do
sure I have Poems of Color somewhere here. I'll have to look and see if I can find it and look at that. I hadn't
Yeah.
remembered those were Yoke.
Yeah, I don't know where my copy is. I wouldn't have given that one away. But anyway.
I think of designs as falling into two different categories, but I think they get blended together under certain circumstances. But the two categories are, you have basically a Fair Isle strip, but it runs around the neck. So in layers, and they're different lengths so that they can fit different bands. So it makes bands of colored color work around the yoke. The other way is to think of the yoke as a bunch of wedges, and each wedge gets a design in it. And so the patterns tend to radiate out from the neck in that case.
Okay.
But the way they get blended together is if those wedges fit together in a way that it looks like the colors are going like this, you can see it sort of becomes the same thing at some point. But if there's big distinct sections between the wedges, at least not big, but if there are distinct distinct background color sections marking the wedges, separating the wedges, then it'll look more like separate motifs across the front or back.
Well, and it would seem like then you could even do like a motif on one side and have kind of blank in the middle and another motif. And,
yes, you could. That's right.
You could do those kinds of things to it too.
It's a very versatile construction. I'm really excited about exploring a lot of different possibilities. Also, I'm thinking of doing cabling that would start at the neck, maybe a bunch of cables start at the neck and they radiate out from the neck and down the body. And some of them come to an end and some of them just curve and go straight down the body.
And keep going. Oh, that would be cool too.
I did a sweater like that once. My sister wears it. Was when I was thin. Thinner.
There's just a lot of possibilities.
Well, since you encouraged me, Frank, I have been working on the vest.
Oh, yes.
Woo-hoo. Here's where it is. I'm up to like 13 and a half inches. I have to go to 14 inches. And then I start the underarm. So,
is this the back or the front or what?
You're supposed to start with the back.
It is the back. Okay.
So it's the back here.
I love that deep ribbing there.
Yeah, the ribbing is 3 inches, and it is the Italian tubular cast on, and so it is just super stretchy.
Oh,
and
look at
really goes
that.
back in. It's
Beautiful.
it's like beautiful how it turns. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So, and you can see I put my funny little dental elastics in tomorrow where I had to do my increases where it showed. So
Cindy, what did you say? How many size down did you go for the cast on? Needle size?
I went down two.
Two sizes.
It said you could go down 2 or 3. Both Suzanne and Roxanne said 2 or 3. I went down 2. I tried going the same. It looked like crap. I tried going 1. It looked a little less like crap, but it didn't look neat and tidy. And then I went down 2, and
Down,
then
I'm
the
sorry.
stitches.
Down from what? What are we talking about?
When you do the Italian tubular cast on, the first cast on, your first line of cast on it's like a long tail cast on, but it's all twisty around. It's weird.
I see.
So you do that, but you do that on a smaller needle. And then as you're working back and forth, you're like slipping half of them. You're only working half each time for 4 rows. So really you've worked half, then work the second half, then work the half again in the second half. And that's what makes that little tube part. So right at the bottom of the tube, it's not connected. It really is a little tube like that.
Right.
But
And so after you're
only
done with the
use-
tube, you go back to the normal size?
No, you go back to the normal size right after you've done that first cast on row.
Oh, okay.
When you're working the other stuff, then you go back to the regular one. But if you that cast on row, it's like I said, it's kind of like a regular long tail cast on, but it's not. It's mostly a bunch of little twisty, loopy, weird stuff. And so if you make it the same size, then when you start knitting with it, it's just like too loosey goosey. There's too much yarn there.
Oh.
So you do it on a smaller needle for that very first cast on row is all.
And so
And
you
then the
went
whole
down
rest of
2
it is done.
sizes. Is that what you
I
said?
went down 2 sizes, and so you can kind of see how so it just rolls exactly, and you can see the little bit of thicker right there. Those are the 2. That's the little tube that I guess if you
Yes.
actually wanted to ever use this and like put a piece of elastic through it or whatever, you could, because there is a little bit. There's 2 layers right there.
Yes.
But even it just goes right to the even. So I'm going to be very close. Probably later tonight, I will be doing the underarms.
All right.
So,
Who else has something to show us?
So I finished my shawl, but the lighting's not very good. But I've put a picture on my Ravelry page, if you can pick it up from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because the lighting here is not very good today.
Well, we'll hold it up and let's see.
Yeah. So get it round the right way. I don't know that you can see.
those
Wow.
colors are just
And
gorgeous.
there are the half.
Those colors are just gorgeous.
You can see the triangular pieces at the
Triangles
top.
right at the top. Yeah. So those are the half triangles at the top. Yeah.
Very
So,
nice.
Nice bind off too.
And I want to point out that Jenny did a lot of math, and she weighed and she measured and everything. So she only had this teeny weeny bit of yarn left at the end.
Yeah.
She was very good.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I've got about 5, just over 5 grams left out of 200 grams. So I was
Remind me of your Ravelry name.
CROWTJE.
I didn't spell it right. TR.
No,
CR. C
CR.
for Charlie.
Oh, C is in Charles.
Yes.
Yeah.
CROW. T for Thomas. JE.
I still didn't get it. Charlie, Robert, Owen, Wilson.
Yeah. Thomas,
Thomas, John.
Jeremy, yeah, Engelbert.
I put it in the chat.
Well, I spelled it right and it didn't give me any responses. I have trouble with. Yep, that's what I put in. TCROWTJE.
Oh, is it looking under people or is it looking under patterns? 'Cause I do
Best
that.
match. I don't know. I don't know
Alright.
what- I was looking under patterns. That's right. So I want advanced search.
No, you
I-
want people then, don't
Well,
you?
just go up at the top and there's people.
Really? No,
Okay,
never mind. I got
okay,
it. I got it.
okay,
I got
okay.
it.
Oh, well, I just posted it in the in the chat, so you can just click on that, anybody that you want.
Rona's intermittent pausing of the computer.
There we go.
There it is.
Oh, nice.
Mhm,
Isn't that beautiful?
mhm.
Yeah. The
That
shape
is pretty.
is unbelievable.
The shape is really pretty. It's so interesting the way the colors change, and the colors are just so vibrant and
Yes.
intense. It's beautiful.
It's like
And
the
it
color
looks-
changes were just made for this style of scarf. I mean,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah,
really amazing.
Yeah.
As you move that, it seems to have like a water effect. It's like it's rippling. It's just really pretty.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It reminds me of stained glass, those
Mhm.
kinds of colors.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I do.
Who
So
was
I'm
that?
doing another double knit blanket.
Oh, it's growing.
It is
Wow.
grow- It takes me about an hour to do a little over an hour to do a row.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
It's
God,
gonna be
that's
heavy.
Nice.
a lot of hours.
No kidding. It's gonna take a year or two to get it done, but that's the pattern.
That's
Oh my gosh,
awesome.
all these books they
Wow.
read. Isn't that
Amazing.
Look, all the books. It's amazing.
It is, yeah, it's a kind of a pain in the butt and it hurts. So it's a strain on on my hand a little bit, but thank goodness I'm gonna start working on the yoke sweater tonight. A little relaxation that way, I hope.
I hope so.
Did you get the count?
Yeah,
Recount?
it was a total screw up on my part. I think I doubled numbers in there somewhere along the line on the row count.
Oh, yes. So I didn't look to see what your gauge was on the sweater that I finally turned to a yoke. What was the final gauge, row and stitch?
Let's see, where is it? I think it was 33 rows.
Sounds about right.
And 23 stitches, I believe.
23 stitches and 33 rounds. Right.
Yeah,
That's-
that sounds better.
That sounds
Because
much
before you
better
were
than what
like
you first came up with.
52 rows. It's like, no, that's not right.
Understood.
Oh, the 53 was for the
That was for garter
combination
stitch.
knit and pearl.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But it was something like 42.
it was way up there.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
this
no,
this
that's too
doesn't seem
much.
right.
Mm.
Joellen, I see you working away on something and you haven't shared it.
I will though. This is Kathy's cloister sweater. And let's see, here's the back.
Oh,
Phrancko.
Frankie, the top down Phrancko cloister design.
And so
oh,
that's like,
yes.
would that be
Yes.
called like a wide rib? A really wide rib? Is that how you
Kind
or
of,
a
yeah.
whale? Or like whales, or I don't know what you
I don't know.
term it.
I tell you what I really like about what's fun to me when we go around the sleeve cap is like you leave this straight design that's going down the sweater, and then you move into this kind of angle to go down the sleeve,
Go
and
down
it
the
widens,
sleeve.
you know, as you increase, and
Mhm.
it just does it so nicely. It
Oh
just
yeah, that
merges
looks
right
really
into the
pretty.
design.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm enjoying it now that I've done what Cindy told me to do years ago. To
What did I say?
Yeah.
I don't even
to
remember.
number, make lines and write down the, when you do
Oh,
2 and
yes,
3
yeah, I
things
do
at a
that.
time.
Mhm.
Which reminds me, I don't know if you noticed in the Phrancko yoke pattern. Let me bring that up again and show you. I'm kind of proud of having worked this out. Let's see, zoom, where are you? There you are. And notice there is no section that says do this 2 times every 3 rows, do 4 increases every 5 rows. It's round by round by round by round all the way down. This is
Yes.
the yoke, and this is where it starts shaping the sleeves. And that's where I normally would say
Right.
do 2 increases every 3rd round and for 5 pairs, whatever. I can't even remember how to say it. But so it's completely round by round, and it guides you through exactly what the sleeve caps would have said in another one of my designs.
I think that's brilliant. I think a lot of people are going to really appreciate that.
Yeah, it makes me think I should change that on my other designs, my other patterns. The problem with that, changing the other patterns though is, oh, wait a minute, where'd Zoom go? Zoom, hello? How do I stop sharing? Oh, there it is. There. The other patterns vary so much around the collar, and trying to incorporate what happens to the collar with line by line instructions for the sleeve cap may not be something I can handle. But it might help if I just do line by line instructions for the sleeve cap and still leave it that you do that at the same time as whatever I'm telling you to do at the collar.
Right. Mhm.
At least then you don't have to take the pattern and do something else on a separate piece of paper to figure out what line by line instructions are for the sleeve cap.
Mhm.
So I might do that.
Would that affect though, the few of us that do cardigans?
It won't change anything about the sweater. It will be the exact same sweater, stitch for stitch, just a different way of writing the pattern instructions.
Very quickly, what I've been working on while I've been here. I had a pound of just like beautiful, fluffy Rambouillet.
No.
So I,
Oh,
Ooh,
in my efforts to use up all of those scraps that I made my sweater out of that I showed last week, I took all the threads that I cut off, things that I had left, cut them into like 1 centimeter lengths, and used the drum carder to card them into this Rambouillet.
Gosh.
And so like those are all the yarns from
The little flecks and speckles.
Wow.
They're so pretty.
sweater carded into the Rambouillet, and this is how it's looking
Oh,
Oh,
that's turning out so
nice.
nice, Ron.
That's
on
Beautiful.
so
Oh, wow. And what weight is that coming out at roughly, do you think?
once it's plied up, it'll probably be a DK-ish, I imagine.
I was gonna say
Oh,
DK
okay,
is
yeah.
what it looked like to me.
Oh, I see. So you're going to
Unless I
put
decide to
double
chain
strand.
ply it and then a worsted
Right.
Aran-ish. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of, I don't have a target in mind for it. I'm just like, I am using up every scrap of this scrap. And this wool is just like, oh, now it's in my beard, but that's okay. my downfall of always wearing all black. No, you can't see it. It's like I live in a house of 15 cats, but it's really just one sheep.
Did you
And some
put
glitter, it
just
looks
a little,
like too.
did you just put the flex in randomly, or did you kind of weigh them out for each of your fibers so that you kind of get similar in each bag?
I did it visually.
Mhm.
And then I ran it through the drum carder a few times to even it out and to pull out all the shorter fibers.
Mhm.
Just once I started carding it through, and the bits of yarn that didn't break up. So it went through the carder like 3 times. I got a new Luette carder. I named it Linda.
Linda Luette.
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter.
It's in your Wonder Carter.
Yeah. But yeah, oh, he thinks he's so clever.
You are. What do you mean?
Okay, it's about time for us to say goodbye. Does somebody else have something to show us real quick? No? Yes, no, anything?
I can quickly show you the pattern that I'm knitting into my next cardigan.
Oh, yes.
I'm just feeling like I want to have some texture. So I'm
Beautiful.
doing
Pretty.
Oh, wow.
this.
Oh, look
Wait.
at that.
That's
So
lovely.
yeah, so this will go down probably 2/3 to 3/4 the length of the garment. Then I'll have stockinette at the bottom. I had stockinette here at the top. I liked what I did with my other sweater because this just frames the shoulder really nicely.
Yes.
So then I'm going to pick that up, and then I think I'm going to pick up one of these stripes and have it just be a little accent piece right down at the cuff before I have ribbing at the cuff.
Oh, nice.
Very lovely.
So
Really
Yes.
nice.
I
Yeah.
love the color.
Me too.
Mhm.
me too. I was, it's like, a little overkill.
It's very
but
similar.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm happy to say I've been telling my sister about Phrancko patterns. She's not a knitter, but for the first time in many years, she took out, her husband passed away some years ago. She kept the sweater that I knit for him 30 years ago and said, will you take this apart and make me a Phrancko sweater? Because I showed her the pattern.
Oh,
And she needs, a custom fit also. And so it just really, it was touching because she's never asked me to do that
Oh, that's
before.
gorgeous.
But when I showed the pattern and we watched Phrancko's about the website because she wanted to learn more about that. And so she asked me to work on one. So that'll be the next thing after this. So.
oh, wonderful. Oh,
Lovely.
that's so
Nice.
nice to hear, Nancy.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you all for coming. It's been a delightful hour as always, and I'll see you next week.
All right.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Bye,
everyone.
Bye-bye.